Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Stella. I make light-hearted content all about my life of chronic illness and disability, and also my cat Luna, who always comes into every video. Don't you, Luna? Say hi to the people, say hi to the people. No? Without further ado, let's get into the video. So today I'm going to be addressing something that I often get asked, especially on my Instagram, is how flexible am I with EDS and how much of my flexibility I actually got from training from yoga. So I would say it's a mixture of both. However, I have always been flexible. So I'm going to show you the bits of my flexibility that are due to EDS, and then other bits that are a bit blurry, could be because of yoga, could be because of EDS, but I'm going to show you anyway. So the first one is flexible hands. This is definitely an EDS thing, not a yoga thing. Sure, you can warm up your hands and wrists, but being able to touch your thumb to your wrist is very much an EDS thing, and is actually something that is part of the Baton criteria when you are getting diagnosed. Of course, not everybody can do this, but pretty much I'd say a good 80% of people with EDS can do that, and this honestly is like nothing to me. I can do this in my sleep probably. So that's definitely an EDS thing. Another one is being able to bend my fingers back so you can see it clearer like this. I think being able to do this used to be part of the EDS criteria, but not anymore because it was too hard or something. So now you're only required to be able to bend one finger back 90 degrees or more. I can do really strange things, like I can pop my thumb in and out. Can you even see that? Can you hear it? My thumb just pops in and out. That's not something I should be doing, but it's very easy for me to do. Another one with the hands is basically being able to fold your thumb over your hand so you can see it kind of sticks out from the hand, and I can do it on both sides. So I just want to show you I don't need help. And if I push it, which doesn't hurt at all, then it goes out even further. So yeah, this has got a name. It's called like the something sign. I don't know.
That looks weird.
It looks really weird, but nobody I know can do this. And that's just how flexible my hands are. So we were just having some teas out here because it's sunny today, and then Chris reminded me of something that I can do really well, and I forgot to add it in, so I'll show you now. He calls me the, what did you call me, the flexible woman? The
Mrs. Fantastic.
Mrs. Fantastic, or is it Mr. Fantastic because he's really stretchy?
Yeah, but you're Miss.
Yeah, I'm Mrs. So this is kind of really gross, but basically if I put my hand down flat, I can basically rotate it 360 degrees. So look how gross this is. So this is pointing straight. And I can get it flat basically. And then watch as it comes out.
Wait a minute. So,
And then watch as it comes out. And because I have really long limbs and really long arms, I can do this. This is known as an eagle pose in yoga, and a lot of people really struggle to get this. So oftentimes you'll see people doing things like this, or just prayer hands, because it is quite the stretch to be able to wrap your arms around like this. Of course, people can train to be able to do it. People with short arms tend to struggle, but my arms are actually longer than the length of my body. I'll have to refer back to the video I did with my brother if you haven't checked it out. We tested to see if he might potentially have EDS, and being able to do this is something of course you can train for in yoga, but if you're short or have shorter arms, it can be harder. And also you have to have really flexible shoulders to be able to do this, because there is a really big shoulder stretch in this movement. Another one that often goes with yoga, this is reverse prayer hands. This can be a really difficult shoulder stretch for a lot of people, even those who have practiced for many years. For me, this is no biggie. Even before I did yoga, I had no problems doing this. So, even things like this, being able to stretch the shoulders out is not a problem for me. Sticking to the upper body, another thing that is very much an EDS thing is being able to grab two hands like this at the back of you. This can be known as a yoga bind. Being able to do this is very much an EDS thing. And I can do it on both sides, as you can see. So that as well is not a difficult thing for me. So these are very much EDS things. And because of that, my shoulders tend to dislocate quite a bit. Like this is just slightly popped out there. Another one with the arms is being able to pull it out more than 90 degrees. Also, I think used to be part of the EDS criteria. I could be wrong, but if you can pull your arms out 90 degrees or more, I can go beyond that and quite beyond that. This is not a yoga thing at all. So you have to keep your elbows in line with your waist, and then you just pull your arm out as far as you can. So you can see mine goes really quite wide. Do you want to have a go at that one, Chris? See how far you can go.
Yeah, not that far.
Look. See if you look at this side as well. This really goes out quite far, when the average person shouldn't go beyond 90. So that's quite an interesting one. Now I'm going to show you how flexible my back is. This one I think is attributed 50-50 to yoga and to EDS, because when I first got diagnosed with Lyme disease, the first thing where I had pain in was my spine. I thought it was a spinal injury. If it was a spinal injury, I shouldn't be able to move very much. I was still very much able to do back bends and very difficult poses. My back flexibility did develop further as I did my yoga practice more. However, I was naturally a lot more flexible than my peers and people I did yoga with. I'm going to do a cat-cow just to warm up my back a little bit, because you shouldn't really go into any back bends without warm-ups in general. This is something anyone can do, it's not an EDS thing. Just gonna do forearm cat-cows. And then I'm gonna go into a Sphinx pose, which this is a very beginner pose, really nice for the lower back. Then I'm going to go into a baby cobra, which is arms slightly higher but elbows bent. And then cobra. This is kind of like a medium entry pose. And go into down dog, where you lift your legs and you can go back even further. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a king cobra, where I fully go all the way back and my legs touch my head. And this is a very advanced pose, and not a lot of yogis can do it either. So that's why I say it's 50-50 EDS and yoga. So, I don't know if I fully touched my head there, but I didn't warm up completely, but you get the gist of what I can do. And if I do a proper warm up, I will fully be able to touch my head, and I'll insert some photos. A lot of times people think, oh, they can't do the splits because they have tight hips, when a lot of the times they have tight hamstrings, not hips, or vice versa. For me, I actually have tight hamstrings because my knees dislocate so much, but I have very open hips. So it's quite an interesting combination. So sometimes I can do the splits, sometimes I can't, depending on how many times my knees have dislocated that week or that day even. So it is quite an interesting thing to live with. And one thing I've had to learn is that my practice is never consistent. So if I have lots of dislocations, I have to do really mild things for ages, and then it gets really frustrating because I'll get a bit more advanced in my practice, and then I'll get injured, or I'll get a bad dislocation, or chronic illness hits, and then I have to stop for weeks. And so the cycle goes on. So I've just learned to kind of listen to my body and do what my body can take. So if I just show you how flexible my hips are, I'm going to do a tiger pose. What I'm going to do is grab my leg and bring it all the way over, which is a very advanced pose. And again, even after years of training, not all yogis can do it. This, again, did take some practice, but it came very naturally to me. And also I'm flipping my grip, which is something people have to learn, but because my shoulders are super flexible, it's not hard for me. So let me get into my tiger pose. So you see I flip it. And that's my tiger pose. I let go early because my hands are sweating, but let me show you on this side as well. This side should be easier. There we go. So I flipped my grip and that's above my head. Most people take a tiger pose like this, which is totally fine, but I'm flipping my grip, rotating my shoulder fully and keeping my leg above my head. So that is just a sign of how open my hips are. Same with butterfly pose. You can see my hips are pretty open here. If you sit like this with your legs, feet together, my hips are very open. My knees are almost touching the bed. So you can see how open they are. Now, if we move on to my hamstrings, this is where the problem lies. So this hamstring is less bad than this one because this is the leg that is always problematic for me. But because I'm right-legged, this leg is also more flexible. So it's a really difficult concept to grasp my head around. Like for example, I can do a compass pose, which is getting your leg and lifting it above your head. This is again a very advanced asana, and literally touching my head. So that was something I had to learn to do through yoga, but having EDS made it naturally easier for me to do it. However, if I try and do the splits now, because of this knee constantly dislocating, I have a problem. So if I try, so you can see I'm quite flexible in my hips, so I've got good movement when it comes to lizard pose or a lunge, and I can do this easily because my hips are super open. But as soon as I try to straighten this leg, you can see I have a problem because my hamstring is so tight from the amount of times my knee has dislocated. So what I do is I keep my leg bent, I lean to the side, and I do this instead because you get the same sort of stretch. With EDS, we're often told you have to stand and touch your toes. Well, this one is always a problem for me because the hamstring issue. So I could do this, but anything more than that, I then will start to get problems. I could touch the floor, as in palms on the floor, but then I can feel the hamstring starting to pull. And that's because my knees are partially dislocated. Let's see if I can get it. Nah. But you can see that even with sublux knees, I'm still able to do a fold pretty well. And just like the arms being able to do this, I can also do it with my legs, which is something that a lot of people find difficult. So being able to wrap it round and the foot going all the way around the leg. And that is because my knee is super loose. I know that sounds gross, but a lot of people train really hard to be able to wrap their legs around. This is known as an eagle in yoga, and I can do it really easily. And it doesn't even hurt. So if I stand up and show you, maybe you'll be able to see it better. So you can see my foot wraps around. And I can do it on both sides. And you can see how easily I kind of get into it. And a lot of people just can't wrap their legs because it's quite a tight and difficult stretch to do. And I shouldn't really be doing this, but it is super easy for me to do. Some people need to get into it really slowly. I can just keep switching up my legs and they wrap around fully, and it's because my knees are super loose and they allow that, which is kind of gross, so I shouldn't really be doing it, but for the sake of this video, I just wanted to show you. My feet are so damn flexible. Look at this. I've got like ballerina's feet. This is like porn for the foot creeps, I'm sorry. But you can see it here, look, against the bed. It goes pretty flat, and they're literally so flat, my legs. And I guess I would have been a good ballerina maybe, but this doesn't hurt. I can even do this. And sometimes when I can stand, well, I can show you actually. I'll do it on here. I do this in my yoga because it doesn't hurt. I'll literally flip my feet over. I don't recommend this if you don't have flexible feet. Flip my feet over and hold a reverse plank. And literally you can feel the stretch in your feet and your toes. But this is so painful for a lot of people because they don't have the flexibility in their feet. I know my socks and sandals are a vibe, but I don't care. I'm in my garden. This is another thing I can do. If I lift up my dressing gown, I'm in pyjamas.
It's like how children draw people.
I think this is called a plie in ballet. Oh, my sunglasses are just falling off my face, so I'll take them off. I can just like stand here, like obviously...
Can you walk like that?
I can, but I'm just doing socks, whatever. Look. Yep, I just spilled my tea.
Well done.
Just trying to tie this up so that you could see my legs properly. So I'm doing a plie, which is a ballet move. I've never done ballet in my life. There we go. My legs are completely straight. Ballet people, tell me if this is hard, because this is pretty easy for me. And then you asked if I could walk. So there you go, I'm walking. It's kind of funny because it looks really weird. And then if I show you how crunchy my toes are. So this is how flexible they are. I'll do it on the other foot. But there you go. You hear that crunch? Yeah, so that's a bit of other randomness that you really didn't need to see, but maybe you find interesting or disgusting, or both. And then there's this one. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I think that's everything in terms of how flexible I am. I may have missed some bits. I feel like I had a workout. If you've got EDS, can you do these things, or are there things that you can do that I can't do? I always find it super interesting because Ehlers Danlos syndrome is such a versatile condition and it affects everybody differently. So it's always super fascinating to me. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something. Come follow my yoga journey on Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. So with that, I'm gonna say thanks for watching.